In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I use these presets to edit my mobile photos. So we're going to show a couple different techniques, and I am going to start with an image that's pretty easy to edit. And typically, I would hope that this is how most of your editing goes. I would start with the preset and just select one that looks the best as a starting point. I'm just going to start with the first one, but typically I would go through and see what all of them look like. And then I'm going to focus most of my editing in the light and color panels down below. So I'm going to start with light and bring up the exposure just because it looks a little dark. And then I want it to be a little softer, so I'm going to bring the contrast down. I can also do that by bringing the shadows or the blacks up. Another area I'm going to focus is color, so I'm going to white balance my images by changing the temperature and tint. So if it looks a little too blue, I'm going to bring it more yellow, and if it looks a little too green, I'm going to bring it more magenta, and vice versa. Typically, I like my images to be a little on the warmer side, so I'm going to bring this a little warmer. If you have a hard time telling if it should be warmer or cooler or more green or more magenta, you can use this dropper in the top right and just hover over an area that should be pure white if you have an area like that in your image, and it will automatically figure out what temperature and tint it needs to be to make that image white balanced. So moving on to a photo where we're going to focus on skin tone, I'm going to start the same way and apply a preset. I'm going to start with one that looks the worst. I wouldn't start with this one typically, but I'm going to use it to demonstrate how to fix it. So I'm going to head over to the color panel since the exposure and contrast and everything looks okay. And I'm going to start by making it a little less yellow. Now I'm going to go into the Mix tab in the top right corner. So here what we can do is selectively edit each color in the image. So typically for skin tones, I'm focusing on red and orange since that's what skin tones register as. So the hue, you can change the reds in the image from more purple and magenta to more yellow. So you can see her lips changing colors, and I want to find an area where it looks most natural. The saturation will make the reds less or more vibrant, and then the luminance is going to make them darker or brighter. So then if I go to the orange, that will also focus on her skin, so I can make it more red, more yellow. Here I'm going to make it somewhere in the middle, and then the saturation I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, and then the luminance, you can just find a spot that looks most like your natural self and not an Oompa Loompa or a ghost. And then finally, in this image, we're gonna focus on how to edit greens. So I will select a preset. I'll go into the color panel and go to the mix. And here I'll be focusing on the yellow and green tabs. So the yellow will affect greens more than you would expect. Here we can change the hue and see that they get more blue or more orange. And then the saturation will make them really bright or really desaturated. And then the luminance will make them a little more earthy and moody, or this will make them a little brighter. We can do the same thing with the green tab. So here we can make them really blue or really yellow. We can make them really vibrant or really muted, and then really earthy or really bright. So I encourage you to just play around with it, find something that works best for your style. There's no right or wrong. I mean, that's a little wrong, but figure out what you like best and have fun with it.